In 1968 in South Carolina, if you happen to be going to the College of South Carolina State University, well, there wasn't much to do except for going to this bowling alley. Problem was, the owner of the bowling alley didn't want black people to come to this bowling alley. He thought it would chase off his white customers. So even though desegregation was a thing, he made his bowling alley whites only. This is the story of the Orangeburg massacre and how this man right here got the lives taken of 3 young men because he didn't want black folks to go bowling. Now, even though 4 years prior to this, federal law had changed and said companies had to desegregate their businesses, there was a lot of places that, frowned upon that. And there were some governors, like McNair of South Carolina, that said, if our companies don't want to do this, I'll support them. And Harry Floyd here in All-Star Bowling Alley was one of those places. Students from South Carolina State University, as well as another neighboring college, would show up just to have a night out, go bowling, get some food, have a good time. And Mr. Floyd here would constantly refuse them service. This got onto the radar of one of the elected officials, and they decided they were going to show up one day with about 50 people. Well, before Harry Floyd could lock the door and bar them from coming in, they got in, they sat down, requested food, drinks, and also to be able to play bowling. And he said no. In fact, he went so far as to every time they touched something as like a napkin holder or a salt and pepper shaker, to deliberately throw those things away, saying that his white customers would not want anything touched by them. This back and forth with Harry Floyd, the owner, and the students became a stalemate after a few hours, and they left, vowing to come back, which they did. And on February 6th, about 100 students did return, greeted by local law enforcement, telling them that they had to leave. This became a back and forth for a little while, in which a window got broken, which is still unclear on how the window got broken. Some people say that someone was pushed into the window. Others say something was thrown from outside. Another said one of the batons from the police officer hit the glass and it broke. No one knows. Because of that incident, the next day on February 7th, classes at the colleges were canceled. The Governor McNair sent law enforcement down to kind of lock the college down, wouldn't let students leave, come in or out, and this only caused more of an uproar amongst the students. The next day on February 8th, more than 500 protesters showed up at the bowling alley to protest what was going on, where they were met with law enforcement and the local fire department. The back and forth between protesters and the officers went on for hours until suddenly officers started firing indiscriminately in the crowd. After randomly firing into the crowd, 27 people were injured, 3 young men lost their lives. And the reason that they used for firing into the crowd was an officer was struck in the head with something, but no such injury report or anything was ever found. These are the 3 young men that lost their lives. Henry Smith and Samuel Hammond, on the ends here, actually went to the college. Delano Middleton was actually a senior at the high school. He was on his way to the college to escort his mother home because he felt the, protests could get violent and dangerous. After 4 more days of protests and the National Guard coming out, finally peace was restored, and the bowling alley owner finally said he would desegregate his business. Years later, they would actually put up a memorial to honor the 3 young men that lost their lives, which still stands at the college today.